Hello and welcome to Secure Your Branch Digital Transformation. Prisma SASE delivers the industry's most comprehensive solution for today's branches. Today's webinar is sponsored by Palo Alto and produced by Actual Tech Media. My name is Scott Becker. I'm from Actual Tech, and I'm excited to be your moderator for this special event. Now, before we get to today's great content, we have a few housekeeping items that are going to help you get the most out of this session. First off, we want this to be an informative event for you, so we encourage any questions in the questions box in your webinar control panel. So not only will we have team members responding to questions during the live event, but we'll also have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of the presentation where we'll discuss in greater detail some of the top questions that you ask. That Q&A panel is also the place to let us know about any technical issues that you might be experiencing. A browser refresh is going to fix most video, audio, or slide advancement issues. But if that doesn't work, just let us know in the Q&A and we'll provide further technical assistance. Now, next, in the handout section of your webinar control panel, you'll find that we're offering several resources. I'd especially like to call your attention to a PDF on why Prisma SD-WAN is the solution you've been looking for. It's a really nice 13-page ebook with a lot of valuable information. So I encourage you to access those resources now and feel free to share them with your friends and colleagues. Now, at the end of this webinar event, we will be awarding a $250 Amazon gift card to one lucky registrant. Of course, you must be in attendance during the live event to qualify for the prize. Official terms and conditions of today's prize drawing can be found in the handout section as well. Just scroll to the bottom and you'll find the link with the details there. Now, finally, one of the best benefits of this event is the opportunity to ask a question of our expert presenters, who I'm going to bring out in just a minute. So to help encourage your questions, we have a special additional prize for you. That's another Amazon gift card, this one for $50 for the best question. So after the event is over, we'll look at all the questions that came in, pick out the very best one, and contact that prize winner. All right, well, with that housekeeping out of the way, let's get to today's fantastic content, which is going to be a conversation and a presentation and a Q&A all together. So it's my pleasure to introduce you to our presenters today. We have Anupam Upadhyaya, who's Vice President of Product Management for SASE at Palo Alto. And we have Georgi Stoev, who's Senior Technical Architect at Salesforce. Gentlemen, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
All right, well, I'll turn it over to you guys to get the conversation started.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. Georgi, first of all, it's a pleasure to have you join us. Can you tell us a bit about your current role at Salesforce and what do you do?
Certainly. I'm happy to be here. I'm a senior technical architect in Salesforce. I work primarily in the IT world of the company. It's a big company. There are many parts of it. And I work a lot on network, client security. Those are kind of big areas what I focus on.
Got it. Network and client security. You must have your hands full. So being the technical architect for mobility and endpoints, what are the challenges that keep you up at night?
Yeah, good question. So I try to sleep well, so they don't keep me usually up at night. But other than that, the gist of the question is, what is the key for me and the environment and the company? Few areas are kind of critical. Is the constantly shifting landscape is one piece. It feels like it's accelerating all the time, even though it felt like this a year or two ago. So I don't know how far it is. Maybe it is the same acceleration. It just feels a lot going on. There is a lot of security implications nowadays, more than before. There is obviously new technologies. There is the speed of business seems to be accelerating. So these are kind of high-level things that keep me kind of thinking.
Yeah, it looks spot on. Like if you think about the last few years, it has been a bit crazy and wild, right? We had the pandemic. Now we have AI ML becoming the cornerstone of every conversation with ChatGPT and other technologies coming in. Now, obviously, like you said, the last couple of years, there has been a transformation where we went from all remote to being hybrid. also spending some time in the branch. So when you think about branch transformation for a distributed workforce like Salesforce, what are your priorities that are driving your branch transformation?
Certainly. So our branch transformation keeps going on. I guess hasn't stopped, but a few areas of I guess recent focus is so we are more and more transforming our branches to be more cafe style type of offices. Again, we used to have a bit more fixed setups and I guess special privileges and things like this in the office. Obviously, since pandemic, people have been very dynamic, working from different locations. The focus for us is user experience, and we want to create the best, I guess, user experience, the most secure environment, at the same time the most user friendly. So from that perspective, we try to have users feel like they don't have to do something special in the offices where we work compared to if they work at home or in coffee shops or anywhere. So this is one of the key goals for us. Obviously, other pieces are speed of, I guess, reacting to any issues that we have, any proactive predictive analytics. That's important piece for us to kind of move more and more the needle to proactive. Other things that happen in our branches is we want to kind of have them on the user side, more like user friendly and like cafe style. Also from the network and technology side, we want to actually have the technology fairly easy to maintain, easy to install. We're more dynamic with our offices, so be able to kind of react to the speed of business as best as we can.
Yeah. I mean, look, that makes a ton of sense. I heard flexibility, security, and awesome quality of experience for the end user, which are your employees and in your branches. Then I heard about agility, the ability to react uh, when problems happen. So when you thought about all these business problems, flexibility, security, quality, agility, and you must have run through a rigorous evaluation process for different technologies and vendors out there. What made you choose Prisma SD-WAN? Uh, and what was the one thing that made you think, yep, this is the right solution for me?
Sure. Let's see. We did evaluate at that time the leaders in the space, and at that time, CloudGenix / Prisma SD-WAN was our choice. What we chose it for is a few things. One was the focus on application awareness. That was a differentiator for us at the time. There was a lot of solutions that were a little bit more routing based with kind of a slap on additional features. We felt like Prisma SD-WAN was kind of envisioned from the beginning to be a little bit different. Which actually also created some kind of change, I guess, path to change of mindset, if I can call it. There was a bunch of network guys doing this, CCAs and all that, and to switch to kind of application thinking took some kind of rewiring our brains a little bit to not focus on the CLI commands and really focus on, okay, how can we serve better the users and not kind of dig too much in the routing protocols and all that. That said, is obviously there are a lot of technical details into it. We loved the ease of operation of Prisma SD-WAN, the day one kind of flexibility of zero touch, easy to ship, easy to install. Another key differentiator for us was the ability to continue using the WAN circuits, even if the box failed. That was kind of unique for us. We were used to the world of like a router failed, you lost half of your capacity. And this was kind of was really nice bonus, or actually it became critical feature at some point, because we do have very demanding users in our world. And I think not only us, I'm sure a lot of the people, participants in the company, in the call here, probably feel the same way. Like nowadays you get a lot of bandwidth at home. So if you go at the office and if you happen to one of the circuit failed or something like this, then half of the bandwidth might not suffice, or not cut it with our demanding users. So that was a key there. Obviously, the automation capabilities, the incident, the event management, overall, the experience of managing the solution was pretty straightforward and easy. And these are what I can think of right now as the key differentiators.
Got it. Yorgi, you said something which caught my attention, right? You said that there was a bit of a paradigm shift and a mental model shift when you think you go from a network-focused conversation to an application-focused conversation with your CCIEs of the world. Tell us a bit more about that. What did you see, and how did that go?
Yeah, certainly. Well, I mean, we all came from the command line world with, again, all the usual network tools, routing protocols, and looking at packets, interface utilizations, like trace route pings, again, all the network tools. And when it came to application, it usually stopped at, okay, well, here is the IP, here's the port. I mean, application, yeah, you can do some with the applications, some application monitoring, but it was in its infancy in a way when we were starting this. So again, the focus, like, for example, we ran into requirements where we wanted to route some application traffic one way from the same kind of provider, let's say Google, and some to route it the other way. Let's say Google Docs one way, Google Meet another way, Google Mail another way. So that was pretty challenging with the old routing technologies, especially with providers like SaaS providers like Google changing IPs and things like this. So anyway, so that's something that forced us also to go more towards application type of routing. But going back to your original question, was like how it changed our thinking. It's we focused more and more on literally like predictive analytics on how actually applications perform, more than actually going in the CLI and kind of chasing packets. Initially, like, I don't know, just a historical thing, there was not much capabilities on the former CloudGenix boxes for like CLI. There were some, but actually we did work with the product team at that time to enhance it and all that, because we were still in that mindset. Now it has enhanced. You have way more tools if you want to. But again, the focus slowly changed to being more focused on the applications, on the user, on the experience, rather than on the nitty-gritty routing.
Yep. Spot on. I mean, look, that is one thing we take pride in, the ability to do application-aware routing, right? In a way where you don't need to be bookended, especially when you think about SaaS applications. It's very hard to be bookended. And that, as we sort of build the product, we thought about people care about application. People care about application experiences, to the point that you made. Google Docs going one direction, a different Google application going in a different direction. How do you make that work while just being on one side of the, just being in the branch is something that we paid a lot of attention to, and I'm glad that it worked well for you. Look, Yorgi, as we talked about a few things, help us bring it back together by talking about, when you think about your goals around branch transformation, about flexibility, security, agility, quality, and you think about that cafe-style experience, how did SD-WAN help you achieve your goals around branch transformation?
Certainly. How did it help us achieve? So few things. One was, as I mentioned, the way I guess the ability to do fast changes helped us a lot. One thing, for example, was our shift as many organizations to hosting majority of our IT and applications in cloud. Again, we are a cloud company, but again, I'm talking a little bit more of the IT part of the company, which is, again, can be looked as more of an enterprise. We still have to service the users. And so the focus was migrating more to cloud apps. That was something that, again, was totally made possible and easy to accomplish with Prisma SD-WAN. The thing that was a differentiator or helped us there was that what we talked about, the application focus, was ultimately when you have another end of the conversation being a SaaS, which you don't control. And it's not only that you don't control, but it's, again, it has a little bit different dynamics than the previous world of like something fixed. Even if you don't control it, it's still some router with some server, usually something kind of known. Like now it became a little bit more, all the cloud technologies were laid on top of it, which, again, with Prisma SD-WAN, we could actually focus more on those pieces, on the applications and all that. So the other piece that it helped us transform is or help us move the needle in, is our journey towards zero trust. We are segmenting more and more, moving towards micro-segmentation, but in some areas we're in macro-segmentation. So that's something that we have also been able to easily accomplish with our SD-WAN solution with Prisma, where, again, we have segments routed, some to our private cloud, some to public cloud, some to SaaS. So again, that is something that is, again, fairly straightforward. We have accomplished, and it's an important area in our world. The other piece has been, I did mention, but just to double click on that, is the visibility of applications, all the probing, the synthetic probes, the application monitoring, like the media application monitoring. Again, with our world is, and a lot of worlds nowadays are focused on media applications. So that is something that when we were talking what keeps us up at night, that's something that actually constantly pops up, because, again, it is very non-forgiving in a way. Users we're constantly, like now, on video and on Zoom calls and all that. And it is important to understand that world and make sure we can quickly fix it and work on it if there are issues.
Yeah. And you said a keyword, zero trust, right, which has become top of mind for almost all companies out there. And when you think about zero trust, that leads to SASE. When you think about SASE, that's SD-WAN plus Secure Services Edge. And you touched upon some of these points in your conversation. But tell us a bit more about, when you think about zero trust and when you think about SASE, how does that align to your requirements of zero trust?
Yeah, SASE is a key piece in our zero trust journey. And we see the SD-WAN, again, when we started, I have to say, a little bit of historical views. Again, SASE term was not even there, or maybe it was there, I wasn't aware, but it was something that came later. And we're right now, obviously, SD-WAN being part of the whole secure journey is a critical piece, both from security, performance, analytics, like just integration. So in terms of zero trust, it is, again, my belief is, and what I see in the industry going towards, is that these technologies are merging, and ideally you have one solution for that. Obviously some people end up with two, but again, simplicity is a key in our world, in our super complex environments. And from that perspective, yeah, so SD-WAN being part of the zero trust is to me, it's a key part, and we're on that journey, and we're constantly working on making it simpler and more integrated.
Yeah. No, that's great. Yogi, if you've got a lot of peers listening in. So if you think about, if you had to give your recommendation for your peers embarking on a digital transformation journey with a single vendor SASE or with a SASE solution, what would your advice be to them?
Yeah. First, if somebody hasn't started on the SD-WAN journey, definitely encourage you to keep to go in that direction. It's fairly easy and has a lot of benefits. But in terms of the single solution, again, I don't know how everybody is, but I feel they're probably in the same boat. Is that the world is getting more complex than simpler, and having a single solution is certainly a key, and to actually sleep better at night, to have less problems, to actually be able to not end up being in two different camps. Like, heck, you call two vendors, we've been there. If you have two different solutions, it gets a lot of times in finger pointing territory, and also in general, like integration in terms of features. This space is fairly, how would they call it? It used to be where we have a lot of standards and there was interoperability. Nowadays, I feel like everything is moving so fast. There's so many options that I don't see so much interoperability between vendors. I mean, there is on the basic level, but if you go on a higher levels, it is harder to kind of integrate solutions. Obviously, one way it's easier because everybody has an API and says, yeah, you can go use the API and integrate. But yeah, it's on another way, it's a lot of work. So from that perspective, yeah, I mean, simplify your life, go towards single solution if you can.
Yogi, thank you so much for the very valuable insights that you provided. Really appreciate it, right? So as we heard from Yogi, he talked about a few key things when you think about digital branch transformation. And I captured some key items. He talked about flexibility, security, quality of experience, agility, consistency, simplicity, and last but not the least, interoperability. So as we think about securing your branch digital transformation, let's talk about how Prisma SASE can help you achieve that. So when you think about, and we covered some of this in the conversation, the branch is fundamentally shifting. You've got more and more applications sitting in the cloud. Salesforce is a key example. It sits in the cloud. SaaS internet applications are becoming dynamic and constitute more and more of the branch traffic. Second is attacks are becoming more sophisticated, are becoming increasingly complex in nature, assisted also by AI ML. It's just not the good guys, but the bad guys are also using it to their advantage. And last but not the least, when you start thinking about, okay, how do I bring that experience and security together? IT teams are spending a lot of time responding to network outages, responding to stitching those solutions together. So that's why the part that Yogi said about interoperability is very important. You need consolidation to reduce operational complexity for branches. So you think about this, if you think about current offerings, some of this can't really be solved with today's offerings. And let's dive deeper into this, right? User experience, security, operations. You think about user experience. Yogi talked about the whole CCI conversation. If you are architecting your network only on network SLAs, you're missing the whole application experience part. And then you do not get a solution that can optimize traffic or provide application-based path selection. And just not that, also accelerate your dynamic applications. And I'll talk about that in a bit. Second is when you think about security, you need consistent security for branch. For managed devices, unmanaged devices, IoT, and for that to manifest, you need a solution that can provide consistent security, which is lacking with most of the vendors out there today. And last but not the least, we talked about this. If you try to cobble together point products, then you've got an overlapping product problem and you've got operational complexity. How do you solve for that? And this is where Prisma SASE comes in. It's first of all a unified SASE product where networking and security both are delivered by bringing SD-WAN for the network part and SSE for the security part. And it delivers on all those three things. First, giving you exceptional user experience, where we provide you telemetry and actions to select the best path for your applications, and then provide the best application SLAs, while also providing you app acceleration for apps that are increasingly becoming dynamic in nature. Second is security powered by precision AI. AI-powered security at the branch protects all branch users, applications, and devices, including IoT, in a consistent fashion. And leveraging the power of AI, ML, and data that we have, we always keep one step ahead of our adversaries. And last but not the least, because of a unified product, you get end-to-end visibility and guided remediation for faster resolution across network and security for your entire branch transformation. So let's get deeper into those pillars, right? We talked about exceptional user experience for SaaS, internet, and private applications all. So the first part, and Yorgi said this, right? First is the ability for you to steer traffic from branch to the secure services edge solution, which is Prisma Access in this case, provide you the best path based not on network, but based on application performance, and also provide you an optimal security on that part. So that's one part. And that's end-to-end, from the branch to Prisma Access, from Prisma Access to the application. And by having a joint product, you get that end-to-end path optimization. Second is when you think about applications today, they are not static in nature. When you interact with a Salesforce or a New York Times, the data that you will see versus what someone else will see is very different. They are very personalized and very dynamic in nature. If data is dynamic and personalized in nature, throwing caching at it or throwing CDNs at it does not solve the problem. This is where we provide dynamic app acceleration, which gives you up to 5 times better performance than direct to app. So you're now getting best security, best application experience, along with best path selection. So you do not have to choose between application experience and security. Next thing is security, right? We talked about the experience. Let's talk about security now. Now, security has to really protect users, protect data, and protect your devices, including IoT. So first thing, if you want to protect all your branch users, including guest traffic, with consistent security, you need to first have an understanding of what kind of attacks are being made on those users in the branch. Today, we block 11.3 billion attacks, identify 2.3 new unique attacks every day. That's the power of data and AI ML that we bring. Since we have that broad classification of attacks, we are able to secure our branch in a more effective and consistent fashion. Second part, when you think about data, with Gen AI apps on the rise, which are great for productivity, they also open up one more venue for your confidential data to be shared, whether it's in a chat GPT model or a large language model or a vertex model. you got to have very robust data classification capabilities so you can classify your data properly and then provide the right protection controls, right? This is where we analyze millions of files every day and block millions of malicious attacks every day. And it's just not that. We also use machine language to understand context of data and large language models to understand the human component as to how that data is being shared to be able to classify data in a more robust fashion. And that allows us for better classification and protection of data. Last but not the least, when you think about IoT, which is, as we come back to branches, it's a thing that surrounds us all over, whether it's cameras, monitors, printers, or what have you. For us to provide better security outcomes for IoT, how do you provide the right discovery classification for IoT devices becomes very important. And with our SASE solution with SD-WAN in the branch and Prisma Access in the cloud, we do not require any overlay sensors. We can classify all your devices using our SD-WAN box. And then we can provide the right security policies using our Prisma Access solution, including support for east-west traffic as well. So that's not the security part. We talked about operations, we talked about security, we talked about visibility, experience, security. Now let's talk about operations. Obviously, all this only makes sense when you're able to bring both these solutions together. And that is where three things are important. One is the day zero part. Hey, how soon can I onboard my solution or onboard my branches to your solution? Second part is how fast can we deploy it? And third is, okay, once the deployment is done, when issues happen, how fast can I resolve it? So with our single vendor SASE solution, you can bring up branch site in minutes instead of days with one click for Prisma SD-WAN in the branch to discover the most optimal Prisma Access location in the cloud. Our Prisma Access solution runs on top of GCP and AWS. We figure out the most optimal path, the most optimal location. You don't have to do that. It's done seamlessly in the backend for you. So connect to the most optimal path in one touch. Second is, and this is important, Yorgi touched upon this, when you think about now bringing this zero trust solution together from a security and networking standpoint, you need a unified policy framework. So you provide a single policy for networking and security to provision your users for the most optimal and secure experience in seconds instead of hours. And last but not the least, when things go south or things go wrong, how do you reduce troubleshooting by orders of magnitude? And that can only be done when you have end-to-end visibility from the LAN to the WAN, in the branch, to the cloud, to the application. And that's where we provide tools like autonomous digital experience management to give you end-to-end visibility and isolate the segment which might be having issues, whether it's Wi-Fi, your laptop, applications, the cloud, or our service, and using Copilot in our product to quickly troubleshoot when issues arise. So that allows for simplified operations. Let's dive a bit deeper into the exceptional user experience part. So when we think about best path selection, right, from branch to Prisma Access, we are not just relying on network SLAs, which is what you see at the bottom, where when you look at traditional SD-WAN vendors, they think about jitter, packet loss, latency. We actually look at application as an entirety, looking at transaction time, understanding transaction failures, MOS scores, size, directionality, the fingerprint of the application to figure out what the application is, and use that to figure out the best path on a per application basis. And then use technologies like forward error correction and packet duplication to ensure you get consistency, you get error-free application experience even in a lossy environment. And what that allows you to do is now get the best path selection from branch to Prisma Access with app SLAs. Whether the app is sitting in cloud, SaaS, internet data center, doesn't matter. Once you have that, we talked about the second part. Okay, that's fine. Now I'm doing a zero trust transformation. I got my SD-WAN up and running. Now I need to connect it to the secure services edge. Since we're a unified product with a common networking layer across both our Prisma SD-WAN and Prisma Access product, I can automatically connect it to the nearest location and also provide you highly available, resilient, and low latency connections from the branch to the most optimal Prisma Access location. And as you can see in this slide, we provide you a variety of boxes to suit your needs, whether it's for a small branch, medium branch, data center, or a large branch, with diversity of WAN mechanisms, whether it's internet, whether it's 5G, and so on. Last but not the least, let's talk about this. We talked about the dynamic app part. When I think about applications, they are dynamic in nature. And if they're dynamic in nature, things like static content caching don't work. So this is where we leverage the power of AI and bots to build a technology that first baselines the user to app interaction, understands how user interact with app, and then prefetches the content on behalf of the user even before they ask for it. And because of that prefetching of content, now we can provide you up to 5 times better than direct to app performance while still giving you the full security. So now you don't have to do trade-offs. You're getting a much superior app performance and a much superior security instead of going direct to app, right? So we take that, you don't have to worry about what you need to compromise on. You don't compromise on anything. You get best of both worlds. And here is a good example of what's happening. So if you look at this is a Salesforce widget. At the left, you have direct internet. On the right, that same Salesforce widget going through Prisma Access. On the right side, because we prefetch content, we are done in like almost 5 seconds. On direct internet, it took us 15 seconds. So we are almost seeing 3.5 to 4 times performance improvement in this demo when you're directly trying to access Salesforce versus going through Prisma Access. So that's the power of application acceleration and dynamic path selection. We talked about the experience part. Let's dive deeper into security. So obviously, you get a holistic protection with cloud-delivered security for all applications with our Prisma SASE solution, the SD-WAN plus the secure services edge. You get support for URL security, you get support for IoT, you get support for CASB, DLP, threat protection, which is malware, DNS security, and wildfire, which is sandboxing. Consistent from the branch to your applications, doesn't matter where they reside. But it's just not that. We talked about security outcomes have to be real time, right? And that's really predicated on 3 pillars. One is a system that is built on deep learning, first understanding what's happening from a threat landscape, then using machine learning to understand the context and build defense. And third is generative AI to understand the context of the attack. And we believe precision and all these security modules that we talked about in the previous slide actually powered by these 3 principles. And these principles become more effective because of the amount of data that we see. 7.6 petabytes of data ingested, 1 tera cloud events process, 11.3 billion attacks plot that I talked about. That data fuels that engine to make us more and more precise from a machine learning, deep learning, and generative AI standpoint. So our security becomes more efficacious and more real time. And that's the difference between 90% accuracy and inaction versus 100% confidence and real-time response. We talked about IoT. A lot of other vendors rely on sensors in branch. In our case, no. If you have SD-WAN, we use a variety of mechanisms, including ARP, DHCP, to build an accurate classification of IoT. Once we classify the IoT devices, then we can deploy the right security rules that we talked about in the previous one to provide you security, not just for your managed, unmanaged devices, but also for your IoT devices. And then last but not the least is when you think about unmanaged devices, how do you ensure that whether they are BYOD devices or contractor devices in the branch, how do you ensure that you provide the right protection for your app? You're not protecting the device because does not belong to your org, but you want to make sure that the data that it interacts with, which is for corporate and is confidential, is protected, does not walk away from the organization. And this is where the enterprise browser that we have with our Prisma SASE offer provides you last mile data and identity controls, include blocking of cut, copy, paste, obscuring data, disallowing prints. So the browser becomes the work environment in BYOD and unmanaged devices, giving you full control of data that is seen in that browser and keeping confidentiality of enterprise data important. While it also gives you that user-first workspace and a secure environment. So when you think about Prisma Access browser, first of all, it becomes one more on-ramp, gives you all those security things that we talked about. It also provides you one more layer of network inspection and additional advanced security capabilities in the browser for last mile DLP controls. And then also provides you app access for everything, just not for internet and SaaS, but also private app access. So when you think about this entire solution with SD-WAN, with Prisma Access and enterprise browser, you get a robust solution that addresses your users, your IoT devices, your BYOD devices, your contractors, your unmanaged devices, with consistency of network and security policies. Last but not the least, let's talk about the admin and the AI-powered operations. So when you buy our Prisma SASE solution, you get a holistic solution that gives you a global view of all your deployments for branches, including where the trouble spots are. So here what you see is a global deployment of branches where out of 500 devices, 500 branches, 496 are actually having a good time, and the ones in red are having a bad experience. So very easy for you to figure out where the trouble spots are, click on that branch to get more details. And I can show you that in a second. But before I show you how you can go from a zoomed out experience to figuring out where the issues are, we provide uniform policies based on app ID, what the application is. And this is just not based on IP and ports, but based on a deep understanding of application based on packet signatures, who the user is and who the device is. We apply this principle of common app ID, user ID, and device ID across network and security, which allows us to create consistent policies and consistent troubleshooting, which is the next slide. So this is now where you can start looking at a view of your entire from the branch all the way to the application and figure out where the issue might be. So you can quickly troubleshoot issues when they are presented to you, and also use Copilot to actually have a natural language conversation to figure out how to resolve those issues. And this is the last part that we're talking about, Copilot. It first of all gives you relevant suggestions and quick answers based on context, your context in seconds, provides guided and automated security actions and operations to expedite troubleshooting, and then elevates IT expertise. You don't have to search and hunt for information. It's easily accessible and at your fingertips with a natural language Copilot. So as we bring all this together, when you think about our SASE solution, it's SD-WAN plus Prisma Access, which gives you zero trust, which gives you CASB capabilities, which gives you secure web gateway capabilities, and SD-WAN, powered by ADEM, which provides you end-to-end visibility from the user in the branch all the way to the application. And this is what makes our solution most comprehensive, with a consistent security, consistent operations, and consistent experience for applications. So that's all I had. And Scott, at this point of time, I would like to open it up for any questions.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, really great presentation. We've got a few questions here from the audience. First one, they're asking, what's the difference between Prisma SD-WAN and Prisma SASE?
Great question. So when you think about Prisma SD-WAN, that's the SD-WAN solution in the branch that provides you optimal application. It's a box sitting in the branch. Think about that as your SD-WAN solution. When you think about SASE, that's the Prisma SD-WAN solution in the branch, plus security in the cloud to provide you now the best. It's SD-WAN plus SSE. That's SASE. SD-WAN is the solution in the branch for optimal application experience. SSE is cloud delivered security. When they come together, they give you best experience and best security. That's the way to think about it.
Okay, excellent. Another question here, do I need to use Palo Alto Networks firewalls to get all the benefits of Prisma SD-WAN?
No, you don't have to. See, these are choices. So when you think about Prisma SD-WAN, that's, as Yorgi said, is a CloudGenic solution that became Prisma SD-WAN. That's an ideal solution for a thin branch where you have users sitting in the branch consuming applications, whether they're in the cloud or in the data center. And you can pair it up with Prisma Access to run app security in the cloud. You also have a choice of doing firewalls in the branch if you want to centralize your security services in the branch instead of running it in the cloud. So those are options, but those are different options. Firewall is one deployment option. Prisma SD-WAN is a different deployment option. Having said that, if you centralize on firewall if you decide on firewall in the branches, they also provide SD-WAN capabilities.
Okay. All right, excellent. Another question here, they're wondering, is your product using Anycast DNS or GSLB to handle geographically dispersed locations to connect to the Prisma Cloud?
Scott, we'll have to take that offline, that question, and come back to the user on that one.
Excellent. Next one here, how does Prisma SD-WAN prioritize and optimize traffic to ensure high-performing access from branch offices?
Got it. And Yorgi, actually, let me start, and then I would love for Yorgi to chime in as well. But this is, when you think about application, when you think of Prisma SD-WAN, it's taking a lot of application characteristics like MOS, jitter, application experience, and figuring out the best network path for the application. So let's say there are 3 paths from your branch. I could decide to send application A on one path, application B on a different path, application C on a different path. And that's really dependent on what's best for that application. And this is really determined not just by looking at network scores, but by also looking at application characteristics like application availability, MOS scores, and things like that. So the real difference is we do application-aware routing versus network-aware routing to provide you the most optimal application performance. Yorgi, anything you would like to add based on your experience to this question?
Yorgi, you're muted. Hang on.
Okay. How about now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
yep,
awesome.
We're here.
I was joking that I had the same question when we started on this journey. How do we prioritize? I came from heavy QoS deployments and things like this. So, by the way, there is QoS also in Prisma SD-WAN. If you want to prioritize based on that, DCP beats and all that, that's available. It's a little bit simplified compared to the old world but it's fully functional and working. We do use it, but as Nupam said, it's way more richer from application and pro perspective. You can actually, for example, for us, as I mentioned earlier, media applications are a key So we actually can prioritize them, and there are built-in mechanisms to actually monitor and actually shift based on like what's the best path for them. As Anupam said, you can shift from one path to another. So yeah, this is just from high level. It's another level compared to using routers.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Next question here, wondering, do I need to purchase Prisma Access with Prisma SD-WAN to get security for my branch?
Yeah. See, look, Prisma SD-WAN comes with on-box layer 7 firewall, which gives you security for the branch. But when you think about the new attack vectors that we have talked about, when you think about AI attacks, when you think about a holistic security solution, then you need to pair it up with Prisma Access. When you think about things like, okay, I need a robust URL filtering solution. I need a robust DNS security solution. I need a robust sandboxing solution. I need a CASB solution, right? So SD-WAN by itself has some limited security capabilities, more optimized for east-west traffic. But when you think about providing consistent security for all applications, you got to pair it up with Prisma Access.
Okay. All right, excellent. Next question, how difficult is it to integrate Prisma SD-WAN into my current mixed vendor environment?
Prisma SD-WAN into your mixed vendor environment? It's hard to answer that question without understanding the specifics. But I'm assuming the question is our SD-WAN interoperable with other vendors? The answer is yes. Right? If you decide to just deploy Prisma SD-WAN or Prisma Access, we do provide third interoperability, right? Because although we'd love for every solution to be entirely ours, we are very cognizant that customers want flexibility. So the answer is yes. It will work well with third-party vendors as well. If you decide to go deploy security from someone else, we absolutely understand that and we interoperate. But having said that, you miss out on the benefits of unified visibility, unified policy, and unified troubleshooting when you make that choice.
Okay. All right, excellent. Well, we're almost up on time here. I guess, Yorgi, any sort of words of wisdom, just as someone who's been involved in securing branch offices, just for the audience before we close?
Topic for one few words, but high level, I would say, as Anupam mentioned, security is a complex territory. It's many pieces are the puzzle. So this obviously SASE is a big portion of the puzzle, but there is even beyond SASE, there is clients, there is application security, there is all the identity space. There is a lot to think through, and it's I guess I would compare it to the chaos theory. I mean, you have to kind of keep digging into it and keep improving it, and it's never ending. So, but yeah, there's no time to stop. Definitely, you have to keep moving and look at the bigger picture. But yes, since the subject is SASE is a huge portion of the whole security picture.
Okay, excellent. And Anupam, same question. Any kind of parting thoughts, and also any suggestions for people if they want to get started with Palo Alto?
I think Yogi outlined it very well. Security and network are very complex topics, especially in a world which is digital first, AI first, and users have become more hybrid, right? You need a solution that provides consistency of security and experience wherever your users are, whatever applications they are accessing, right? And I'd strongly encourage you to just Google Prisma SASE Palo Alto Networks, get to our landing page, and start looking at how do you embark on this journey. The great part is you will have different projects, to begin with. You might say, I want to first start with securing my internet or securing my private apps, or I want to do a CASB project, or I want to do a SD-WAN project. The beauty of embarking on a SASE project with us is we provide you the flexibility to start anywhere and grow into the other projects.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks to you both. This has been a really interesting conversation, given everybody, I think, a lot to think about here. Thanks for this informative presentation. Great conversation, and your insights here in the Q&A. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you for your time also, Scott. And thank you, Anupam.
Thank you, Yorgi. Thank you, Scott. Great conversation. Thanks.
All right. And we do have one more piece of business here before we wrap up, and that is the Amazon gift card prize drawing. And the winner of that gift card is Daniel Acosta from California. So congratulations to Daniel Acosta. We'll be in touch to get you your card. And remember, last opportunity here to grab that handout. That was the PDF of why Prisma SD-WAN is the solution you've been looking for. Really nice resource there that you can grab. And with that, on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I want to thank Palo Alto for making this event possible. And thanks as always for attending and for your great questions. That's going to conclude today's event. Have a fantastic rest of your day.